3. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with the Future. I am your host, Eddy Mansfield, joined this week by the legend himself. You got him. He's here. You wanted him, and I got him down. The Rowdy One, Killer Tim Kilroy. How you doing, Rowdy?
I'm doing good, Ans. How you doing, man?
I'm doing. You know what, brother? You look like a 6'3" leprechaun tonight. You're looking very Irish.
Exactly, man.
Looking good. Well, I'll tell you what. We got a hell of a show tonight. We have 235 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. He is a poor woman's pet, a man's regret. He is a rich woman's lover and a poor woman's dream. They call him the Continental Lover, Eddy Mansfield, live and in color. How you doing, baby?
Hey, I'm live and in color with you, brother, and just ready to rock this joint, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. You have graced our show previously.
Yep.
You are one of our most sought-after guests. I had to bring you back.
Okay,
we got. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. It's straight shooting, but I want to tell you straight. People love you here. They really, really do. I got my friend the Rowdy One here. He is quite the legend here in New Jersey. Every wrestling promotion.
Is he a legend in his own mind, or is he actually a legend?
No, he's a real live, living, walking, breathing legend for sure.
Okay, just
honest to goodness. I'm telling you, shoot.
Hey, just checking.
Yeah, no, that's straight shooting from me. You know, look, if it's coming out of my mouth, it's a shoot, bro. You know me. I got no time for bullshit. You know about that.
I don't know about that, Ans.
So listen, since it's the legend's first time with us, Tim, fire away. You got the Continental Lover, Eddy Mansfield.
Eddie, how did you get into professional wrestling, and where did you start from, and where'd you end up at?
Well, my first year was I was Rookie of the Year at the NWA, and from there I went on to be, one of the top 10 guys in the whole damn business, and you get that way by working very hard and knowing how to get yourself over, and I drew money everywhere I went because I'm just damn good, Rowdy, and when you're good, you're good, and a lot of people think they're good, but I was good. And when you start comparing, you just got to know how to get over. And that's what's the problem with guys today. They don't really know how to get over. And when you do promos, you not only got to do promos the correct manner and the correct way to get over, you also got to, follow that up with your in-ring action. And if you can't work, why bother?
That's exactly right. And most of the days, the workers that start today now, they want to be prima donnas and go from bottom to top within a week, and that ain't how to happen.
Well, you got to kind of put your time in and learn. I was very fortunate that I was blessed with a lot of talent, and I knew how to mix both of them together. And I got to the top pretty quick, and surrounded myself with a lot of good people, and that's the key. And I worked with a lot of great baby faces because I was a heel my whole career, and I enjoy that, And I know you got a lot of fans out there that really like me, and I appreciate them very much. And when I look at things, I'm glad that I was a heel. And I put myself in that position. I was stabbed 7 times. And so, you got to have some heat to get stabbed 7 times.
Well, I got a question for you, brother. They say that the best workers in the business, the best personalities are your own personality cranked up to 11. All right. Now,
yeah.
In the interest of full disclosure, I know you, okay?
Yeah.
And people, and I do know Eddie. He's a great guy. But I don't see you, perhaps I'm looking at you in different eyes, but I don't see you as that 235-pound, arrogant, full of himself guy that run Rap Shot across Southwest Championship Wrestling and, gave Joe Blanchard a bunch of headaches. I don't see that. So how do you ramp up?
Hey, Angelo, the only headaches I gave Joe Blanchard was when the bastard didn't pay me. And so, when I'm selling out and me and Casey are putting millions of dollars a month in the bank, I question myself for my money. And that's why I've always had that's why I got my money. Scott Casey will probably tell you, he's been on your show, that Eddy Mansfield made sure he got his money.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, well, Scott has, as point blank said, were it not for, and he said it on the show. We have the tape for people to listen to. Scott Casey said point blank, were it not for Eddy Mansfield, there were nights he wouldn't have got paid. And that's the truth. That's a shoot. That's a straight up shoot.
Well,
so how does
bottom line is, I didn't get in this. I didn't get in the wrestling business to play games. I got in the wrestling business to make money.
Absolutely.
And that's just like I do in my regular business, guys. It's called the wrestling business. Without the business, there's no wrestling. So whether it's show business, there's no show without the business. And so you got to take care of the business. And so if you're putting asses in seats every night, you expect to get your money.
You better believe it. Absolutely. So
and then I happen to have enough stroke, being the number one heel in Southwest Championship Wrestling history. That I used that leverage that I had to make sure that I got my money. And
absolutely.
If they call me an asshole, if they call me hard to deal with, something, they were hard to deal with. Why would I even have to ask you? I just drew you 22,000 damn people, and I got to ask for my money. You should be rolling down the damn aisle to give me a wheelbarrow full of cash.
There you go. So, Eddie, let's talk about this. The characters. These days, you have guys. They're not in the wrestling business, but they're called character development personnel. Okay. Back in your day when you wrestled, you were responsible for creating your own character, your own personality, getting yourself over. Where did the Continental Lover come from?
Well, the Continental Lover came from myself and a person that was a real good friend of mine that will remain nameless.
Okay.
But it was really for me. I looked at myself as something different. I said, I got to be different. And what's going to separate me? It's like all my sayings are mine. I created 230 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, a rich woman's love and a full girl's dream, and stuff like that. That's me. And, you can't take that away from me. And
oh, sure.
And so what I did is like I've told you before. I said, when I got my heat in the ring, I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but when I got my heat like a 6'6" son of a bitch, and I would tear you a new asshole. And so that's just the way it is. I'd move tables, I'd move chairs. It didn't matter. I'd go in the stand. You just do what you got to do to draw that money. And,
absolutely.
You can't be afraid. You just got to keep getting it, And, when you saw Eddy Mansfield, you got your money's worth.
Oh, you damn sure did. That's for sure. I know Rowdy's got some questions for you, brother. Go ahead, Rowdy.
All right, so we're talking about Southwest Championship Wrestling. All right, the question I have is, do you feel the territories were better than McMahon going global? And did you think WrestleMania would evolve the way it did?
Well, the first question is, I can't understand myself as a business person how 35 territories cut and run when Vince McMahon took 3 stars. Okay, bottom line is the whole wrestling business was made by creating talent, creating stars. And how do you create stars? With television. And a lot of these NWA guys, which means no wealth allowed, but is that they had 35 territories. Okay? Well, they said, well, McMahon came in and, you know, stole their talent or whatever he did. Well, by God, you built that guy up, made him a star, or you're not creative enough to do another one. And then they'd come up and say, oh, well, this McMahon stole my television. Well, guess what, guys? There's 3 other stations in that same town that would love to have your program. So go to somewhere else and put it on again. So, you know, for them to cut and run, I think that they cut and run because they were scared to death that the IRS would come get their happy ass because they've been stealing so much money and treating the guys like second-class citizens. And that's what happened. And that's the bottom line with that. And
go ahead, Rowdy.
Well, I'm going to ask. Let me finish answering this question. So,
I'm sorry. Sure, go ahead.
So when you ask about WrestleMania, you know how WrestleMania took place, Rowdy? You know how it really took place? Well, WrestleMania took place by the Briscoes selling Georgia Championship Wrestling their shares of Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon, in return, sold it to Jim Crockett for, I think, $2 million. And Vince McMahon took that $2 million and he made WrestleMania. That's how WrestleMania took place, with Jim Crockett's money. And so it was really the NWA that made the WWE. So it's really a funny scenario when you ask, you know, it was just a good business move. And it was a good business move on the Briscoes because he had a lifetime job, you know, until Vince said, you know, that's enough. I done gave you enough free ride. Jerry Briscoe, have a nice day. And that's what happened.
Well, he did that with a lot of people, though, Eddie. I got a question for you. I was reading something today. I wasn't even aware that this was a thing at the time, but superstar Billy Graham claimed the catchphrase "twisted steel" and sex appeal. The weight amount varied depending on the wrestler. Likewise, Gino Hernandez, the late Gino Hernandez, also
Gino stole that fucker from me. Believe me.
Well, that's what I was going to go.
Gino Hernandez, he stole that from me.
Well, and so let's just, you know, cut to the chase on that. There were several people who laid claim to that. I want to tell people, you are hearing it from the horse's mouth. Eddy Mansfield did, in fact, come up with the catchphrase, 235 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, a rich woman's lover and a poor woman's dream, poor girl's dream. That was Eddie, and I know that factually. So, and I wanted to put the kibosh on that one, Eddie, on the show, and hear it from your mouth. Go ahead, Rowdy. It's all you, bro.
Well, it is. I mean, you know, I came up with it, and, you know, the other people wanted to coin my phrase, you know, when I left Southwest. But, you know, the difference is there would have never been a Southwest Championship Wrestling if it wasn't for myself and Scott Casey.
Absolutely.
We made Southwest Championship Wrestling relevant. You know something? Me and Wahoo McDaniel were the first 2 guys ever on national syndicated television on TBS at 6:05 on a Saturday night and 10:30 on USA Network on a Sunday. Wahoo McDaniel and myself were the first guys to ever do that in the history of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Yep.
2 different networks.
There's a lot of firsts that Eddy Mansfield has done, you know, and all the, you know, and when people start seeing and they start examining my career, all of a sudden they say, God, you know, Eddy Mansfield was a hell of a lot better than anybody ever thought about. you know,
Yeah.
and because they
Well,
tried to bury my ass, Ole Anderson, that no good prick, he tried to bury me, but he couldn't. You can't bury, you know, I got talent. You know, you can't stop talent. Talent can never, ever be stopped. And they tried to stop me, and they couldn't stop me. And so the bottom
Eddie,
line is, I just did what I needed to do.
Eddie, you've always been a lightning rod. What is it about you that is so divisive among the masses? You either love Eddy Mansfield like like he's the second coming, or you can't stand the bastard.
Right?
I happen to be one of those who thinks that you are the bomb diggity. I love you. You know that. We talked about
Well, I
it.
appreciate that. Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know,
So, but
you know,
you're one of those guys, Eddie, that you know you're cut and dry, man. You either love him or you
Or
don't.
you hate him.
Yeah, exactly, Rowdy. Rowdy,
Yeah.
address that. Address that with him.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of people, right? A lot of things. You either love them or you hate them. It's like a love-hate relationship between the Heat and the wrestlers. If you understand what I'm saying.
But Rowdy, I just got to tell you, the fans love me, and the people who don't like me, you think I give two knobs of goat shit whether they like me or not? I mean, do you really think I care?
No, you probably
No.
don't.
Because I know what's in your bank account.
Well, one thing about it is that, I'm not on the street corner, and so I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, I know you are. God bless you, brother. So let's. I wanted
So,
to.
Angelo, hey,
yes, sir.
for all those Eddy Mansfield haters, why don't you tell them what Eddy Mansfield's worth?
Well, according to the publicly released documents, Eddie is worth somewhere between $26 and $29 million, and that's
Not bad for a white guy, huh?
And that's legit. That's a straight shoot. Those are real numbers. Those are not my numbers. Those are from Forbes magazine, by the way. Those are from Forbes.
Not bad. I don't do too bad when I make Forbes magazine, do I?
No, it's got a list of all the wealthiest people.
Yeah. And so when people hate me, they hate me because I'm successful. They hated me when I was
nailed it.
and I don't really give a shit. I'm all about winning the game, and I'm winning the game of life. That is the most important game to win.
Amen.
And the bottom line is this: you either take no prisoners or you take all the prisoners. And you notice they were releasing all these prisoners, and it's not working too well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I like the way I do things because it seems to work. I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty damn close to being perfect. You know that?
And you're also very humble.
I am, Well, yeah, why not? I am humble.
Rowdy, what questions have you for the Continental Lover?
All right. Now I'm going to get a little deep down.
Do it.
Well, get on down, brother.
With what you know now, your segment on 2020, would you do it again, or would you do things differently?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question with a really good answer for you. All right. Number one, I got hosed on that segment. Now, if I'd have been as smart as I am now in the television business, I would have got final edit on that show, and I didn't. And so it turned instead of comparing, pro wrestling to Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, and NHL, and how they took care of their professional athletes, and wrestling being $1 billion industry and how it takes care of its professional athletes. That's what the show was supposed to be. And it turned into an ego piece for that son of a bitch, John Stossel. and so that's where it went. Now, if I had to do it over again, I would have final edit. That's the only thing I did wrong, and that's because I was so young in the television business at that time. You know, I didn't require the final edit, and I should have. And I would have got to show that I actually recorded.
Eddie, how much ended up on the cutting room floor?
Oh, 95%.
Oh my God.
Mm.
You mean that
If
95%?
Yeah, if you ever read the transcript, it'll tell you the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I have not seen the transcript. I will
Yeah.
reach out to get a hold of it.
Yeah, because I told them not to interview David Schultz. They did everything I told them not to do. Everything.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
it's pretty clear Stossel walked into that interview. He knew he was going to walk out with a payday. I mean, that's all there is to it.
You know, something, Angelo, the bottom line is when I did Vice, and I did that, I did one hell of an interview for Vice. And
I have it.
Yeah, you know, and that show with me on it went up over 20%, almost 25% in ratings. When you bring on Eddy Mansfield, I am ratings, buddy. It doesn't matter what I do. I'm a ratings king. I know how to put asses in seats. I know how to put eyeballs on TV, and that's just what I'm good at.
Go ahead, Killer. That's all you, brother.
Okay, so being on the production side of things now with your production company.
Yep.
With the wrestling, if you did that with a wrestling side, would there be a different perspective now than it would back then in the 80s?
Well, you must not know much about Eddy Mansfield, Rowdy. Go do your homework. I used to own the third largest wrestling federation in the fucking world. And I was the first guy to ever soundstage professional wrestling out of Universal Studios. I was the first guy ever to have a production deal with Universal out of the wrestling business. And I had that for 14 years. Does that answer your question? And I had RVD. I created the Smoking Guns.
Yeah.
I had, you know,
Yep.
Mondo Green worked for me. He went on to be Demento in the WWE. Everybody who worked for me, I mean, even Thunder and Lightning. Farmer went on to be the Bogus Thing. I mean, everybody who worked for me, I trained Kevin Kelly, play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I gave him his name. His name's Kevin Foote. I gave him Kevin Kelly. And so when you create people, I know how to create stars and make stars. And if you listen to RVD's, you know, Hall of Fame speech, he thanked Eddy Mansfield twice. And there's a reason for that. You know, Eddy Mansfield knows what the hell he's doing. You know, when I do stuff, I do the right thing. It's like now, I'm getting ready. I just signed a deal with Sirius XM radio, and we're going to be nationwide. And I'm going to announce right now on this damn show who's going to be my co-host.
There you go. An exclusive.
An exclusive, yeah. And her name is Sunny. You ever heard Sunny?
Ah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, she's going to be my co-host, and it's going to be a hit-ass show.
I know that young lady well. Tell her I said hi.
Yeah,
It's been a long time since I've seen her.
But
She
you know,
actually, she and Chris. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
she's really, really good. And you know me, Angelo. If she wasn't great, you know, she's just really, really good. And she's better than good. She's a damn big star. A lot of people know her. And you know, Sonny from Glow, it doesn't get any better than that one.
Yeah. Tell you what. Absolutely. Good stuff.
And the name of the show is Mouthing Off, all over the world.
I love it. I love it. Now then off. Go ahead,
Mhm.
Jim. It's yours, brother.
So, How many championships have you had in your career?
Probably 22. And I didn't want one of them. You understand that? I never needed a friggin' belt to draw money.
Can we talk about that, Eddie?
When I was in San Antonio, they tried to give me the Southwest Championship belt. I told them, hell no, I don't want no Southwest Championship belt. I said, and I'm the one who put Gino and Tully together where me and Scott could have a top spot. So I told the Indian, which is Wahoo McDaniel, and I told Wahoo, I said, Wahoo, put Gino and Tully together, give them the belt. Then that way, Wahoo, you and Ivan Putski, you and Tiger Conway Jr. or Guerrero could work, tags, with these two guys that had to, they had to sleep. Tully Blanchard always had to have a belt because he has to sleep with a belt. He's like a
Eddie. Can we explore the psychology behind that? I want to pull back a part of the onion a little bit. All right. If you'll allow me, and I'd like us to talk about it.
Shoot.
It's always been said that people who can't work or can't draw, you put a belt on them. People who can draw, people who are heat magnets don't need a belt because they can get themselves over. Is that
right?
Is that to your knowledge the way it was and the way it should be?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Los Angeles, I had 3 belts at one time, and I didn't want a damn one of them. I was America's heavyweight champion and one half of the America's tag team champions with Leroy Brown, but I didn't want all of that, because I could draw without a belt, and I proved it everywhere I've been.
Oh, sure.
Whether it was in Atlanta, whether it was in Knoxville, whether it was in Pensacola, we're at Southwest Championship Wrestling. Anywhere I went, I drew because, I didn't need a pacifier. My pacifier was the heat.
Exactly.
I could generate more heat by accident than most people could by trying. You think people hate me now? Could you imagine when I was really cutting promos and doing my thing in the ring?
Brother, I'm going to tell you something. As you and I are speaking right now, people at home watching this show, and Killer can tell you, the Rowdy one can tell you, behind me is one of your greatest promos ever playing on the screen behind me.
Yep.
So people at home are watching this promo, and this is the Southwest Championship Wrestling. You're being interviewed in mid-ring, and you are just wailing on Scott Casey, calling him everything but white and human.
Well, you got to do what you got to do,
Yeah, I hear you, brother. Eddie, me and the Killer, before we went on the air, we had a little conversation. I want you to kind of settle something for me.
Okay.
The mindset and the psychology between Southern wrestling fans and Northern wrestling fans. Why do fans of WWE interact and react differently than fans of WCW, NWA, World Class, Southwest? Why is there such a disconnect even among the fans themselves? Because Rowdy and I, this, Eddie,
right.
we are from the Northeast. We both grew up here in the New York, New Jersey area.
Uh-huh. Well,
so what's the disconnect?
You know what, Angelo, I just got to tell you, I got over so big in New York because, our tapes were going in out of LA into New York. And I got thousands of fan letters when I was, in Los Angeles, out of New York all the time. And I had that crossover appeal to Northern and Southern because the things that I did, I did stuff that normal people don't do. You know what I mean? In the wrestling business. And
yeah.
So, whether it was me burning sombrero hats and, chugging tortillas to Mexicans, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I did whatever it took to get over. And plus in Los Angeles, I'm wrestling with all the New York guys anyway. From Victor Rivera one of my biggest feuds was with Pedro Morales, the late great Pedro Morales. That was one of my first big feuds when I went there.
One of the best.
The first guy I ever wrestled was a sellout at the Olympic Auditorium, was Mil Mascaras.
Ah, Mil, yes.
Man of a thousand masks.
I always loved Mil.
I have wonderful things to say about LA, even though I was stabbed there 3 times, and so it's just one of those things, you ask for it and you get it. Just be careful what you ask for sometimes,
Yeah, because you just might get it.
So,
you'll get it. You'll get it already. You ain't gotta worry about it,
Yes, sir.
So,
go ahead, Rowdy.
What do you think, Ange, if it was the heyday between now and him and Eddy Mansfield, him versus the Rowdy one, who would win?
He'd
mop the floor with you, brother.
Shit.
He'd climb you like Florida.
Hey, Rowdy. Hey, you may be behind a mic, but let me tell you something. You get in the ring with me, you better bring it, because I'm a 60-minute guy. And I'll have you up and down. I'll have you blown up in about 7, 8 minutes.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Have me blown up.
Oh, I'll blow you up so fast to make your head swim.
Well, I'll tell you what, I took many years ago, Rowdy and I, we've known each other almost 40 years. That's crazy. It's a long time. I took him to see a friend of mine, the late, great, the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers.
Yeah.
And we went to a training seminar.
Yeah.
Now, right. Buddy was in his 60s at the time.
Built like a brick shit house.
And still built like a brick shit house, and took Rowdy to town and took him downtown.
I'm sure he did. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Rowdy, always remember this. Never get in with guys that are, got a little season in them,
Yeah.
Because they'll check your oil real quick. You know what I mean?
Especially when that guy was world champion.
Yeah, a couple times, right. And so it's like, you just have to, respect. You have to respect, your place. That's it. You got to know your place and respect your place until you earn the right to be somewhere else. And that's just the way I work.
Eddie, I want to play What If right now.
Okay.
I want to play What If right now. Okay, what if Eddy Mansfield were in charge of wrestling in 2021? You are the czar of wrestling, kind of like what Vince is doing right now, or used to do. Let's put it that way. What he used to do. What's the first thing you do to bring people back to wrestling? Because I'm seeing.
The first thing I would do, Angelo, is fire all of them guys that say that they can write. Number one, they've never taken a bump in the ring. They're not qualified to write professional wrestling. And number one, I fire every one of them. Bring in guys that are bookers and knew how to book and really build characters. Right now wrestling is full of vanilla wrestling.
Yeah.
And
I don't like it.
If one guy gets hurt, well, what happened to Indians? What happened to Cowboys? What happened to all these different gimmicks? You know what I mean? Like, it's just all vanilla. If you
Eddie,
get hurt,
what happened to the midgets?
Muscle head in there and be done with it. And
what happened to the midgets? What happened to the women?
Well, yeah.
The women now. It's to me. Yeah, the women are good wrestlers. They are good workers. They do know to do what they do. But where is, I'm not talking sex, but where is the sex appeal? Where is the?
That's what Eddie is saying. They're all vanilla. There's no flavor.
Right. There is nothing there now.
You got one flavor to pick from, vanilla.
When you start bitching about something. When you bitch about something, you need to have an answer to your bitch. Okay, so if you have fault with something, you got to fix it. Okay, if it's a short end, whether it's women or the guys, you got to fix it. You got to bring in guys that can do the job, bring in girls that can do their job, and bam, that's the way it works. It's very simple. It's a very simple philosophy. You got to have a beginning, a middle, and end. If you know how to work, that's what your match is: a beginning, a middle, and end.
Yeah.
And that's a lost art now.
Oh my God, is it? Absolutely. Eddie, there was a guy that was back in the 1990s, largely responsible for what we call the Attitude Era. It's a guy named Vince Russo, who I know personally, who's been on the show 3 times already, 4 times.
God was very tired when he made Vince Russo.
Well, here's my question about that, and you may be going right where I want you to go. Is there a place for a guy like Vince Russo now?
No.
Granted, in my opinion,
never ever was, and he should have never been there.
Okay, and my opinion is that he was a one-trick pony that got lucky.
Boy, I'd call him a half a nut pony. How about that? I mean,
there you go.
I mean, believe me, he's like the south end of a northbound mule.
Oh, you kill me with that. I love that. That's one of my favorite Mansfieldisms.
That's right.
North end of a southbound mule.
Yeah. I look at Vince Russo, it's kind of like a saying I always say, it's better have hope in your soul than soap in your hole.
I know.
So, that's the kind of guy he is, so.
Yeah, so Eddie, you're in charge of wrestling now. What do you do?
Well, I just told you, I bring in a bunch of bookers who really know how to build talent, and then I'll start creating really make stars again.
That's really good.
What I'll do is I'll make heels. See, there's nobody. The problem with this internet age is that wrestlers don't want to be hated; they want to be loved.
Well,
as a heel, I don't. Let me tell you something. Angelo. I used to have kids come up to me all the time when I'm wrestling Scott Casey, and I'd be sticking my head out the dressing room door watching the match, and they would come up and ask me for an autograph. You know what I used to do? I'd say I'd sign best wishes Scott Casey to him.
Exactly.
And so, I just that's the way I am. And
Eddy Mansfield, I will say this, and I'll say it for the whole world. You played your part well. You were the heel, and you played the role of the heel from the time you got out of your car to the time you left the building to go back home.
Right.
That's missing. They don't know. Nobody understands that you are your character from the time you pull in the parking lot to the time you leave. They don't get that.
The only time I wasn't, the Continental Lovers when I was at home.
Well, that's exactly right. That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah. And I never dropped my guard, when I was in public or anything. And that's what they're doing wrong. It's going to be a heel, be a heel. If you want to be a baby face, be a baby face. But, you can't be a heel that you want people to like. I don't want to, I would never let people, they wanted to like me so bad.
Yeah.
But I would just piss them off so much that they had to hate me.
Okay, that's a great segue.
I used to have the announcer say, people hate Eddy Mansfield. I'd drill it in their damn head. They hate Eddy Mansfield. I wanted them to hate me.
Well, here's the thing, Eddie, because you're going right there. Again, Rowdy and I had this conversation. And I can remember, and Rowdy can remember, the moment it changed. It was when Steve Austin and Bret Hart went in as Bret was the face, Austin was the heel. By the end of the match, they were cheering Austin and booing Bret. It was that moment when bad became good and good became bad. What the fuck happened to our wrestling, brother?
Well,
where's the psychology? That's what I'm getting at, Eddie. Where's the psychology?
Well, it's been left. I mean, it doesn't exist anymore. And when you look at it from a business standpoint, it's really bad. and somebody needs to fix it. And I'm not going to fix it because I got too much to fix. I got too much on my plate now. But I can tell you one thing, that if I was in charge of a wrestling federation, I would damn sure do things differently. I can tell you that.
Well, I got a question. What happened to the XWF?
Oh, the one I produced and wrote?
Yes, sir.
Well, I had him a deal with, that's when Vince went to Spike, and I had him a deal with USA Network. And what happened was but USA Network only wanted to do a barter with them where they could prove themselves, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So the other guys, they wanted to get paid. And I told them, I said, you're not going to get paid. I said, Vince McMahon didn't get paid when he first got on here. He had to prove that he could pull the ratings. And so sometimes you got to, do a barter, which they would have still made money because they'd be selling national ads. But that's what happened to that show. Greed.
Yeah.
Greed killed that damn federation. And, I had a lot of good guys on that, too. I mean,
yeah.
I'm the guy who produced and directed Hulk Hogan's Return to the Ring.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Here's the other thing that Rowdy and I were talking about, and maybe Rowdy, if you want to talk to him about the Universal Wrestling Federation, you and I were talking. Well, Eddie, we wanted to find out your involvement, if any, with Universal, with Herb Abrams.
No, Herb Abrams, no, not at all. I don't even know Herb Abrams.
Okay. All right. Well, I wasn't sure. There was some speculation. Again, the wrestling rumor mill, it keeps on rolling. So you didn't have any involvement with Herb Abrams.
Now that's 99.9 and almost 100% lies. I don't even know Herb Abrams. I never knew those guys. I came in after the fact. I started the IWF, at Universal. It had nothing to do with Herb Abrams or anybody.
Right.
Herb Abrams didn't have a damn contract with Universal. I did. Eddy Mansfield did.
Well, there was one guy there. There was one guy that did reach out to you at Universal, at the one Mr. Eric Bischoff. Would you tell everybody? Tell the Rowdy one.
Short conversation.
Yeah, let's tell everybody what happened.
No, I'm going to let you tell them, Angelo. That's a story of legends right there. ATM.
It is a story of legend.
ATM Eric called me and wanted to come into Universal. And so what did I tell him, Angelo?
You told him go fuck himself.
So, that's, shit happens,
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Rowdy.
All right, so wrestling now. Okay, so Vince McMahon, he doesn't want bleeding. He doesn't want any blood anywhere like that. Way back in the 80s and 70s, was gigging.
Oh, we got a phone call coming in. Got a phone call coming in. You are on the air with Eddy Mansfield.
Hey.
Hey, you are on the air with Eddy Mansfield, the Continental Lover.
Yeah, how is Eddie?
Eddie's
doing
fine. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, well, this is your gal in Texas.
I can tell what gal in Texas is calling me.
Oh, go ahead. Hey, go.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
So when's my check coming, dude? The kids are hungry.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Hey,
they need shoes.
Yeah, well, you need to go to work.
Hell no.
Hey, I don't even have any kids. That's Scott Casey's kids you're taking care of.
Good.
Oh my God.
Oh,
that little barefoot, little redneck, nasty talking little idiots.
Well, don't be talking about my kids that way, child.
Good Lord. Hot damn.
You need to get that money from Scott Casey.
Is this
Yeah,
Billy?
well, I might as well wish in
That's
one
your mama's
hand.
daddy. That's it. That's what it is.
Is this Millie?
This is the Contessa, yes.
How
Yes,
you
darling,
doing?
you can call me Contessa. We're good. How are you?
All righty.
We can't find the podcast, so we just got brave and called. Donna,
Yeah, we'll
say
call
hello
in.
to Eddie. Hi, Eddie.
Hey, how you doing, sweetie?
I'm doing good.
We got
You behaving
everybody here
yourself?
tonight.
Yeah.
What? Oh, man,
Everybody tells us what I do. But hey, Billy, you need to go find that nanny goat writer.
I was going to say the only thing that would be better right now is if Scott Casey called in.
Well, you know what? I might can arrange that. I just sent his butt back to Arkansas today, but he's going to pack his bags and he's going to move to Texas.
Oh, beautiful.
He
Beautiful.
better, or we're going to go get him and beat his ass every step.
There you go. Well, thank you for
Okay.
calling in, sweetie.
Okay,
How long's
guys.
it been since you heard from Eddie? It's
I
been a
haven't
while.
talked to Eddie in a couple of weeks. I think he's avoiding me.
Oh boy.
I
Hey.
think he don't want to send money to the kids or something.
Eddie, would you
let me
send
tell
her
you
a couple
something,
dollars, please?
Hey, let me tell you
What?
something, you little filthy mouth redneck. You go back there and you take care of them little Scott Casey little rugrats you got running around there. And you have Scott Casey to send you some meal money. That's what you need.
Oh my
Okay.
Throw her a couple dollars. Throw her a quarter.
Hey,
Y'all better be glad I like you, because you know what Texas women will do to your balls.
Oh Lordy. Oh shit.
well, you already done that to Casey. You took him from a fucking bull to a steer.
Oh shit.
You know?
There you go. Oh my God, that's
Oh
hilarious.
my God, y'all are so bad. I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna call Casey and tell him to call y'all.
Well, that's what. No, don't you do that. Don't run my show. What the hell's wrong with you?
Don't run your.
Go feed
Oh,
them
that's funny.
little nasty
Well, he's
redneck mouth kids of yours. You know
Hey,
that?
that boy is back in Bigfoot country. He probably don't even have cell service.
I'm
Well,
serious.
Yeah, that's
It's-
where he needs to be, Bigfoot country.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
I told him he needs to get out of Arkansas just so he can call somebody. He can't.
Yeah,
He's in the
exactly.
middle of
Here's-
nowhere.
Here's a quarter so you could call somebody.
Brother,
Hey,
I'm going to tell you
Angelo.
what.
Hey,
He's
Angelo,
in the
I just
middle
gotta
of
tell you,
nowhere.
You had a hell of a show going and you just screwed it up.
Oh my God! Well, I'll let you go, Mr. Mansfield.
Thank you, Millie. Go feed them little
Huh?
nasty mouth little rednecks you got around there. Oh,
Oh,
Scott
my
Casey. That little Scott Casey kids running around.
Thanks for calling us, darling. Thank you. Take care.
All right,
good,
you
Millie.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Night.
Be good, Millie.
That's great. That Millie, she's a friend of ours, a friend of Scott, and Rowdy,
Friend of mine.
you got introduced, indoctrinated the hard way tonight. So
Yeah.
we broke you open the hard way tonight.
Here you go.
Yeah.
All right. So let me.
So go ahead,
listen
take
to
the
that
questions
question.
there, Rowdy.
All right. So nowadays, McMahon doesn't want blood. You don't see blood, right? You have steel cage matches, right? And there's no blood, right? So way back in the 70s or 80s, did you need gigging to tell the story?
Well, I could gig so. Let me tell you something. I could gig so well. You could hit me in midair, and I could gig, and I'd come up. I'd be bleeding all over. You know, it's just it is what it is. It's a different era. It's a different time in the world. We went through the AIDS crisis. We went through hepatitis C. Went through all this other stuff that you really don't need to be, doing that anymore. And, because there's so many things out there today that wasn't before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different world. It's a whole different climate. And you got to look at it that way. It's the same way I produce television shows.
Yeah.
And or the same way I'm going to do the radio show with Sonny, Patricia, Sutherland, is that we're going to attack certain things and attack it, in a good way. But
Right.
you have to, it's just a different era, and you got to deal with it, and you got to deal with it the way you got to deal with it, and whether it's keeping the FCC happy or whoever, you just have to just be outsmart.
Well, Eddie, that I would have at one point, and now it's a good question, Rowdy. Thank you for bringing that one up. There was a point in time when I would have said, no, you can't tell an effective story without the use of blood or some dramatic effect. But then,
boy,
as you're talking, well, here's the thing, though. As you're speaking it, what conjured my mind was those old westerns from back in the 50s,
right,
where you see the Lone Ranger shoot somebody, the guy
you
falls
never saw
down
blood,
dead, but
or he never killed anybody,
right. Well, and yeah, and an old western where the bad guy shoots somebody, right? They hit the ground, never a drop of blood. He grabs his stomach like he got shot and then falls to the ground. You never question where's the blood because, first of all, you didn't care.
Right.
You wanted to see the bad guy get his comeuppance. So, yeah, I can understand to some degree, but I'll tell you what, I still believe that in some regard, and this is just my opinion, I still believe in some regard for effective storytelling and for dramatic license, sometimes it's necessary, to break open some skin.
Yeah. Well, I did a million times. And it just depends on what it is.
Yeah.
You see, today, I don't even know if it matters.
Well, that's another question. I think that goes to kind of
something. It really doesn't matter because of the damn finishes and all. You got goofballs doing all the finishes. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, why would I want to bleed for some goofball who doesn't even know what he's talking about? Why would I want to do that?
And that kind of goes to Rowdy's question about, is it even necessary? And I guess,
no. The answer is no. If you can work, hey, let me tell you something. I drew a lot of blood, believe me, and I spilled a lot of blood in a lot of arenas. But I can tell you one thing: I could have a match with a friggin' broomstick, and I'd have people up, shouting and screaming. But you got to be able to work. It doesn't matter about a lot of the guys that got a lot of the blood, if you really start up and down, and really do your time and really do it right, you don't need a lot of blood. Unless you got a hot angle. Like me and Casey, we spilled a lot of blood because Texas was all about blood,
Yeah.
So anyway, that was different. It's a whole different era. It doesn't really matter now because, they can't even tell the story right. So if you can't tell the damn story, why I'm on shoots for you? It doesn't matter.
Absolutely, sure.
Right. Now,
it's kind of an asinine point. You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Rowdy.
So,
fact or fiction? From what I heard from old-time wrestlers like Dusty Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes, and they gig. Now, is it fact that when you gig you make more money, or is that fiction?
Fiction. It's all bullshit. It's like, both of you either gig or you don't gig. You're working for one, the angle. You're working for the big picture. not just a gig. You know what I mean? It's just,
Sure.
you know, that's
Well,
just
it
all
was
bullshit.
kind of, I think, Eddie, you may have even answered that question in that Stossel piece, as one-sided as it was.
Right.
The old expression
where red turns to green.
when
and-
red turns to
right.
green. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that's a fact, really. And but it was back when I was doing it. It was so overused that it's not like today. It doesn't really matter. I'm just telling
Right.
you, it just doesn't matter. And I wouldn't gig myself today for nothing because I love myself too much.
We have about 10 minutes left. Real
Okay.
quick question for you, and maybe we can have a discussion on this. Difference between Southern wrestling and Northern-based wrestling, philosophically and physically. Is there a
the
difference?
difference in the wrestling up north is more stomping and kicking than it was wrestling. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Where Southern style is more up and down, boom, bang, boom, more high spot. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and more wrestling holes and stuff like that.
So it's more classical wrestling than kicking, stomping, punching.
Well, that was more the NWA, but when you get into Texas was more like the Texas style was rough and rugged, like up north. And so that's why I related well to all the guys, fans up north, because I was used to that kind of style. Not only was I a bump guy, I was one of the best bump guys in the damn business. But
Eddie, how long were you up here?
Huh?
How long were you up here?
I went up there. I don't know. I was up there 2, 3, 4 different times, years. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay.
Because I would come from another territory, in and out. Boom, from LA
Gotcha. Okay.
from Atlanta to, you know what I mean? It's like.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I was of the understanding that Vince McMahon Sr., the old man, as they called him, that I was under the understanding that he had some kind of a trade agreement worked with other promoters that were his friends, that they would lend talent back and forth. To your knowledge, did Vince have a working relationship with Joe Blanchard or Fritz Von Erich or a Gary Hart or somebody like that?
Well, you got to remember back in the day, Vince McMahon Sr. was part of the alliance.
True. Very true.
Whether it was the NWA or whatever the hell they wanted to call it, it was all the promoters that would get together and and put their game plan together to kind of hold the wrestlers down, as you might say. But anyway, he was part of that. The old man was, and he was a very stand-up kind of guy. He really was. Senior was a good stand-up man.
Senior had something to do with trading talent to Stu Hart, I believe.
I don't really know a lot about the Stampede stuff. I don't know. That's I used to go in Toronto and London, Ontario, and places like that. And because me and Terry Funk used to go into Detroit and Junior about once a month for the Sheik, Eddie Farhat.
Okay, yeah.
And then
Eddie Farhat.
And then I'd go over to Toronto. I worked a deal. I had a big feud with Whipple Watson Jr. and some of these other guys. I can't remember half of them. But I was working. I was going all over the country, and so I was blessed in that way. I really was.
I'll tell you what, brother, you are still blessed. For all of the reasons we spoke about, but you are especially blessed because I'm your friend, and that's something to celebrate.
I appreciate that, Angelo. That's it. and I appreciate that.
You are a welcome force in my life. You are a welcome force on this show. You have a home here anytime you wish. And if you ever need a guest in a pinch, I'm there for you.
Well, I got you. Hey, and be sure to plug Mouthing Off
all over
the world with myself, Fast Eddie, the Continental Lover Mansfield, and Sonny from Glow.
You got it. I got to tell you, we have a connection to Glow on this program. One of the original Glow girls, Grimlina, is a good friend of the show, and
you know, who's another good friend of mine that you need to have on the show besides Sonny is Roxy.
Oh yeah, Roxy Astor, sure.
Yeah, make sure you get Roxy on there, and you tell her that
I'll give her a call. I actually have Roxy's number.
Okay, well, make sure you call her and tell her that I told you to call, because Roxy is really, and she's got a lot of stuff going on, and that would be a good show for you. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, the last time that Roxy was on, we were promoting the Glow Cruise. It's called the Afterglow Cruise.
Okay, cool. That's
yeah.
Great.
So any final parting shots?
Yeah, final parting shot for me is this. You need to have myself and Sonny from Glow on your show one week, and we'll light this son of a gun up for you.
Absolutely. Beautiful. We can do that.
I'll bring some Beauty with the Beast. How about that?
Well, I got the Beast right here. He's sitting across from me. His name is Killer Tim Kilroy.
Well, I'll bring the Lover and some Sonny. How about that?
There you go, brother. Eddie, thank you for joining me, my friend. Always
you got it. Thank you guys so much.
I appreciate you, brother. I will give you a holler tomorrow. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you,
Good
Eddie.
night, everybody.
Eddie Mansfield. Eddie Mansfield, everybody. Good night, Eddie. We'll talk to you tomorrow, brother. That was a great interview. That was a fabulous interview, Tim.
Yeah, it was.
Well, we broke you in good tonight, brother. So your first night on the air with me, what do you think? I think, first of all, congratulations and kudos. You held your own against one of the fastest talkers in the business, Fast Eddie Mansfield. That ain't no easy task, by the way.
I know,
Because he's been around forever.
Yeah, I asked the question. He came right back at me. I said, "Oh shit, I'm in trouble."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I want to tell everybody what we got going on next week. It is a big one. It is. You might want to sit back for this one because you're going to need some room. Watch this. We've got Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker, the Sarge from WCW's Power Plant, joining the Sarge on the same show, the new living legend himself, Larry Zbyszko. We got two of them. It's a 2-4 show. It's a long show, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So, parting words for the Rowdy one. Where can people reach you? How can they get a hold of you, Rowdy?
Well, where can people reach me? Reach me on my Skype, which is Tim Kilroy 67.
Beautiful. And you have a Facebook somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's Tim Kilroy, Facebook.
There you go. Terrific. Well, I'll tell you what, brother. For another week, we're going to say goodnight to everybody. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Join us as we wrestle with the future.
Good night, all.